welcome everybody. Today we are going to be playing 4-color Midrange. It's a deck I built recently and it's been performing really well. So the main idea is that we're taking advantage of the adventure package early in the game to either pressure our opponent or gain some card advantage. And then we have some cards that bridge us over to a really powerful late game. So Binding the Old Gods and Showdown can kind of bridge the gap from our early game to our Planeswalker end game. And you'll notice we have one Vorinclex in the list. That is going to allow us to immediately ultimate either Garruk, Ugin, or Tibalt if we get this down prior to playing one of those. And even if that interaction doesn't come up, it synergizes really well with some of the other things we're doing in this deck. For one, just a 6/6 haste as a top end can be enough to end the game. It also works well with the Sagas and with Polukranos. So the one of Vorinclex just kind of providing a lot of benefits with some of the cards that we're already playing. And Vivian is another all-star in the deck. This is another card that can bridge us from early to late game by creating a blocker and allowing us to continuously gain card advantage, playing things from the top of our library. Overall, it's a really fun deck to play, super interactive, a lot of choices. And it's really difficult for the opponent to sideboard against because we have two distinctly different game plans. If they go overboard trying to sideboard against our creature plan, then they are going to be really cold to our planeswalkers. And with the two Shepherd of the Flock, we can really mess up a lot of the opponent's interaction. Just for one white mana, like fizzling an adventure spell like a Stomp or a Petty Theft targeting one of our creatures is really relevant. So let's jump in and play some matches. All right, we'll play first.
Announcement received.
And with all of our colors of mana, this is a keep. We need to hit a third land, but knowing that the land can be any color really helps. And we have two plays that we can play in the meantime, just in case we get stuck on two for a turn. Sultai is probably our toughest matchup, and this will be a good chance to see how we can fare in this matchup and test out our sideboard plans. I think it's actually really important for us to get as much pressure on as early as possible. So my plan is to just play this out on one and play a tapped land on two. Every single point of damage that we can get through before they're able to clear the board and before they're able to cast an ultimatum is really relevant. Alright, I'm going to play the Savai Triome, because that does give us all of our colors. We already have green from the pathway, so no need to play the Indatha Triome just yet. And this gives us the option of a Valki or a Stomp this turn. So opponent looks like they might be lacking blue mana. Alright. And yeah, I'm just going to see what they're up to. This will inform how we play the next few turns, and it puts extra pressure on the board. Okay, so unfortunately they have a Cultivate, and they have plenty of lands, as well as an Extinction event. The good news is, at least there's no Ultimatum in hand yet. If we need an untapped land, this Showdown can actually provide us with quite a bit of momentum to push towards closing out the game. Alright, let's just attack first. So we know an Extinction event is coming. Given that, I guess we just want to play out this Lovestruck Beast, force them to Extinction event on odd, and we keep the two even costed creatures. Okay, so they're going to go for the ambitious play of stranding the Lovestruck Beast. Luckily for us, we do have this Edgewall Innkeeper. So we're going to be able to push some damage through. And we have perfect information, which is really nice, so we can kind of play around some of what they have going on. We'll put them to 8 here, as well as draw a card with this Giant Killer. And again, we're putting them in a tough spot. They're going to probably have to Extinction Event next turn. We can even stomp them here. Really maximize our mana. Like a Jawari Disruption as their card that they just drew kind of punishes us waiting. Alright, if they do this now, we're going to stomp in response, so there's no counter. Alright, and now we just have to push through the last couple points of damage. Bonecrusher's a good start, we know about. Also painful for them to target with something like a Heartless Act.
Announcement received.
And as far as we know, they haven't found an ultimatum yet. If they have, things get quite a bit tougher. So they do have ultimatum mana. They cast ultimatum and grab a stack of like Epiphany, Kiora, Valki. Could probably just not give them the Kiora. Oh, they just have Kiora. That's actually much better for us. Gives us lots of outs. So, I think the play is just destroying this, putting them to 2, so a Stomp is then lethal. Also, in a couple turns, maybe an Ugin off the top gets us there. Not a whole lot of other options other than just doing this and not attacking. I don't like that though. I think getting them to where Stomp is lethal is really important. This also makes a hasty attacker like a Vorinclex lethal. So if they don't attack with the 8/8 and play out the Yorion, then they're playing around Vorinclex, but I kind of suspect that they're going to swing in with the 8/8, try to pressure us, and just play the Yorion out here. Yeah, they can't afford to sit back on the Jawari Disruption. Which I'm realizing now I was saying was a disdainful stroke the whole time. Alright, we'll grab our Ketria Triome. Let's see. Yeah, I think we're just playing this out. No attacks. The next turn, all of our things have Death Touch, which is actually oddly relevant in this specific situation. So they just keep back their whole board. We get to clear it out. Garruk, potentially another out now for us, since we can destroy one of their blockers to help us get through. Really would just love to find the stomp off the top for the clean win. The opponent does have Mystical Disputes in their deck, but no hard counters. I think what they're looking at is if they can get away with attacking with one thing and then crack the Wolfwillow Haven. They opted not to do that. Alright, let's cycle this. There it is. Alright. So we swing with everything, clear their board, and then go for the stomp. I guess I could wait on the stomp because we just said they have Mystical Dispute, right? So this would play into Mystical Dispute if we were to cast it now. What we can do is wait until the opponent's... until we untap our mana. And they still have to deal with this 1/1 as well. Could have just done it there, but that's all right. In case they have a miscast, but they don't. All right. Good game. Alright, so Clothis comes in, Duresses come in, Redain comes in, QB comes in. I think that's all here. In terms of our cuts, we want to get rid of this Elspeth's Nightmare. Get rid of some of our very expensive Planeswalkers. Cut some number of bindings. And also some number of giant killers. Let's see, the opponent's sideboard, they got some Gargaroths. Okay. Given that they have Gargaroth, actually, I don't want to cut as many giant killers. Wondering if Vivian might be a little slow here. We can trim one of those. So 2 giant killers, 2 bindings as ways to deal with Gargaroths, and an ECD. Think that's okay. We can also steal a Gargaroth with Valki, perhaps. They do have a Coma in the sideboard, so we want to make sure we have some instant speed ways to deal with that. Giant Killer's value is going up as I continue to look at their sideboard. Let's actually go one more Giant Killer, one less binding here. Yeah, this seems pretty solid. Alright, this is an easy keep. One of the questions that we have to ask is if we just run out the Innkeeper on turn 1. And I think we do. It's important for us to curve out in this match. So unless we find another 1-mana play, I think I just want to get this down and force them to respond. oftentimes I will sandbag this, and oh, okay. That might change things. I think it does. Because now we can get the Innkeeper down, have Shepherd up. There's an argument to just running out the Shepherd as well, because we do want to pressure them as quickly as possible. I'm hoping to bait them into playing a removal spell on the Innkeeper this turn to slow down their own development. And then next turn we get to go Innkeeper plus Shepherd. Oh wow, so they can't really do much at all this turn, fortunately and unfortunately. I would have liked to get some value out of this plan. Alright, so at this point, are we just running out Bonecrusher? I think so. Let's play out another green source here. Get the Bonecrusher down. So I'm hoping they have like Heartless Axe and Eliminates in hand, so that they, one, can't use their mana super efficiently, but also would have to take pain to eliminate the Bonecrusher. And we're going to try to sandbag the Questing Beast. That's best for after a Wrath. So next turn, most likely we're just running out Lovestruck Beast and keeping up a Shepherd. It feels like they're setting... Oh, they're not setting up for a Shadow's Verdict. I think they're setting up for an Ultimatum. Let's go ahead and do this. Clothis was a fantastic draw. And Clothis can deal the last couple points of damage even after an Ultimatum. It's not really possible for the opponent to interact with that. But we do have to get them pretty close, because they also close out the game pretty quickly post-Ultimatum. Gargoroth is fine. Let's get rid of that. I actually want to keep up the Shepherd still, because we could even put the Bonecrusher back in hand. Let's go another red source here. And we have like lethal burn damage with the two Bonecrushers. Not to mention we could play out a Clothis. So we'll just do this now. Stomps. Good match. That's a pretty easy keep. Got all our mana colors, some good interaction. We can start out, I think, on the Savai Triome here. So I'd like to play this on green anyway. And that gives us a nice Bonecrusher stomp. for turn 2. Opponent actually doesn't play any 1-drop, so we'll see if we decide to fire that off at their face. I think we do. We just fire it off, get the Bonecrusher down. Start pressuring them a bit. Do have to be mindful that they do have claim and village rights, so our 3-drops and under are in a bit of danger. I don't think we just want to sit around doing nothing. Alright, so black or red? I think we go red so that on a future turn we can stomp and play Bonecrusher. So this, for them to really deal with this, they have to have a threaten effect and a way to sacrifice the Bonecrusher. And since they don't have a Woe Strider or like an Immerstrom Predator down, they would need exactly village rights to take our Bonecrusher this turn and get rid of it. They don't have very good blockers here either. I guess they could play their own Bonecrusher, but then we can Giant Killer that. So this is going to work out pretty nicely. And then Polukranos being 4 mana is pretty nice. Let's see, do they have a Crone? They have 3 Crone Wars in the main, so they can still steal it. But we're hoping to keep them off one of the 2 pieces of the puzzle, either the sacrifice effect or the threaten effect. Alright, so I think we're just binding this back while we can get our creature back without them being able to sacrifice it. Maybe we get the dream combo of Polukranos Death Touch going. Having another binding is really nice. They play like an Immerstrom Predator here. We get to cleanly answer it and keep the pressure up. Bastion of Remembrance, okay. I wonder if they have a Village Rights in hand. Kind of feel like they do. So, as much as I would love to stomp this 1/1, I think that ends up in us losing our Bonecrusher. Yeah, they have 4 Village Rights, so we're not going to do that. We have to decide between binding the Bastion or playing out Polukranos. And one of the considerations is we are pressuring their life total pretty nicely. At this point we have multiple red source already. I'm going to grab an Indatha Triome. So binding this Bastion makes it that much harder for them to kind of stay in the game. We can maybe tempo them out that way. If we play the Polukranos instead, get to gain some life back. You know what? I think that's fine. They're going to gain a couple life off this, ping us a couple times. The thing is, if we can get 2 huge threats down and then binding whatever they're trying to do to deal with them, that's going to work out much better for us. So we'll build up our board state first and then answer some of their permanents. Not to mention, again, we get the potential of having Polukranos Death Touch fighting things next turn. get our giant killer down as well. We're putting a lot of pressure on the opponent here, and again, because we're keeping them off of the sacrificed creature half of the puzzle, it's hard for them to cleanly answer our stuff in a single turn. Like, they would have to have a Crowan War and another Village Rites to do so. They might be considering like a Desperation a Crowan War, in which case we just binding it away and continue on. If they do just run out a Bonecrusher here, I'm going to binding it. We have an extra binding, and this allows us to put maximum pressure on. Oh wow. Vorinclex, pretty nice as well. Yeah, let's just do this. Knock them down really low. Then we can stomp into Vorinclex. Lucranos dodging that Heartless Act pretty nicely. Oh, this is... okay, so they kind of get it, but unfortunately for them, we have the Vorinclex in hand, because they're going to attack with this Rankle, then make us both sacrifice. But, again, we've got the... oh wow, no attack. Well, this definitely doesn't work for them. And it's open deck list, so I don't mind if they see our Vorinclex here. Alright, so what's in their sideboard? Some Oxes, some Scourges. Really nothing we care about, to be honest. I do want the Elspeth's Nightmare. I also want the Erebos' Intervention. They just have multiple things to recur from the graveyard. Let's get these Clothuses as well. And then it gets trickier. I feel like the Shadow Spear may end up being relevant. They are trying to pressure our life total, so having a way to gain some life back is nice. Also, just Heartless Act and Bloodchief's Thirst could be interesting. Note that Bloodchief's Thirst kills Kroxa for 1 mana if they ever get to bring it back. Let's get rid of Ugin, Vorinclex, Garruk. ECD is actually quite nice. Yeah, there's not too much I want to get rid of, so probably won't bring in a ton of things. Lucranos is nice because they do have some discard effects. Shepherd's amazing for avoiding the, claim to fame a Crowan War shenanigans. So I got one more card to cut. I'm going to leave the Shadow Spear on the board, because everything is so good in our deck already. I'm going to go one less Vivian. Just play a little bit lower to the ground here. I mean, Vivian does really shut them out if we are able to stick it. I think on its face, though, the Sacrifice deck is an aggro deck. So we're going to kind of play accordingly. Alright, can't ask for more than this. Go turn 1, Heart's Desire. Turn 2, play out Eddie, have Shepherd to back it up. Alternatively, we can go Savai Triome turn 1. See if we draw land. I think I'm just going to go with the Savai Triome here. I'll try to curve out into this Lovestruck Beast. Definitely going to keep our, Shepherd of the Flocks up, though. Alright, so kind of punished. Go Eddie here. I don't think so. It is good bait. Yeah, you know what? I do like Eddie. It's good bait, and then we can potentially go Innkeeper into a Shepherd after we save it. Alright, well, the jig's up. They do get our ECD, which is kind of annoying. Often Duress will just whiff against these Adventures decks because all of our spells are creatures. We can maybe get some Shepherd of the Flock loops going. Alright, well, I don't understand that at all. At least wait until our turn to do that. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. They could be trying to bait us into just running it back out. Not having protection for it because we go for the Shepherd right away. I don't know. I don't really see a reason to fall for that. Let's get this down on green. Just go this into Lovestruck Beast token. I wonder if this is like a rankle or something. So I think the opponent's going to try to race here. Probably make us draw a discard. Alright, just discard. We can probably afford to get rid of the Triome. Our mana's fine. Plays that on black. I like that synergy though of discarding the Skyclave Shade. That's nice. So there's a Woe Strider. End of turn, we will stomp that. Their last card is Village Rites. We're probably in trouble. Oh, we can't stomp it end of turn. I don't have the mana for that. Oh, nice. Their last card was Ox. Gotta say, I love the synergy in the Rakdos deck. Another red source down here. And honestly, we probably have to chance it for a turn that they draw some sort of, you know, Claim or Necro and War. Putting one on the bottom makes me feel even better about it. We do want to just pressure the opponent at this point. I don't think holding up Shepherd is correct. They're already threatening to get this back with any land. Alright, shield's down for one turn. Yeah, so they're gonna get our last card anyway, so we might as well pitch the Shepherd. Save the damage. I guess technically they may have to hold back the Rankle here. Alright, well, small mistake, that's alright. Got a lot of pressure on the opponent. There are 1-drops I would want to play, like another Innkeeper. Oh, Valki's pretty nice. So they bring back Croc, so they're dead on the board. Alright, good match.